Are you just getting started with gel printing? Hi, I'm Jenna McLean, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do a gel printing 101 type of project that is super simple, and the best thing is, it's completely free. The supplies that you're going to use to create the designs on the gel plate are completely free, so let's get going. Before I get started with this project, I just want to mention that I have other videos on this site that are perfect for beginners. If you've never touched a gel plate before and you want to learn more about what supplies to get, I recommend that you watch Gel Plate Printing 101 Tips for Complete Beginners. I will list the link in the description below, and there's another video that I'll link that shows you exactly how much paint to put on the plate, because that's something that beginners really need to know. So let's move on to today's project. Making gel prints from trash in your recycling bin. That's how I made both of these prints. If you're just getting started with gel printing and you want to get started with a project that is a lot of fun, go to your recycling bin and start pulling things out. I recommend setting aside a box or a plastic bin for tossing things in, because you're going to go back to these recycling bin items over and over again in your gel printing journey. So let me show you what I'm talking about. What you're looking for are pieces of trash that have texture to them, and obviously bubble wrap is terrific. I recommend saving different sizes of bubble wrap. This particular sheet of bubble wrap has circles that are about this big, so that's fun to use. U.S. mail, priority envelopes. If you cut them open, on the underside you have small bubbles here. This is a slightly larger circle of bubble wrap. Shallots came in here. Net bags like this are terrific to use. Here's another net bag. Some oranges came in here. I cut a piece of it off, and I've reused this a number of times. This is a fun one. You take a piece of cardboard like this, regular corrugated cardboard, and then take a piece of foil, kind of crumple it a little bit, and then put it on here, and then you can go like this on the gel plate and get some good impressions like that. That's what I did right here with this particular print, and right here. This is the aluminum foil. Pill or vitamin containers are terrific, and try to get different sizes like you see here. Pieces of string and yarn. Another thing that you might want to start doing is looking at the underside of bottles and jars. This is a seltzer bottle. I've never used this for gel print. I just noticed this morning. I'm going to give this a shot today and see what happens. Here is a mason jar. There is this little ring with tiny little marks on the bottom. That might make an interesting circle design on a gel print. Look at caps also. You could take this and just set this down like this and create circles. But it also has ridges on the side, so you could take this lid and go like this in the paint and get a ridged look. Here is an oval-shaped yogurt container that you can use. Here is a lid for some takeout food. Caps are really fun to use too, and some manufacturers of beverages and other products, they have some kind of design created in the cap, so keep your eyes open for things like that. Also, cardboard. Corrugated cardboard is really fun to use. This showed up in some kind of package that I got. Get curious, peel this back. I think I had to use an X-Acto knife to start peeling this stuff back here. And when I saw this, I said, oh my gosh, I've hit pay dirt. This is perfect for gel printing. So I cut a piece of it off, and that's what created this design right here. So check out your corrugated cardboard and see if you can get some interesting designs there. Also, soda cans or beer cans. These are great to use, but I have to say that if you want to use these on a gel plate, they have to be really, really flat. You just can't fold them over and try to get an impression. They have to be stomped on or hammered and get to a point where they're very, very flat. Otherwise, they're not going to make a good impression on the gel plate. So let's get going with the design. I'm going to ink up my plate with a combination of bright oranges and yellows, maybe some green, and maybe some paler colors of yellow and green. And I'm going to take my small brayer and start to spread this out. So as you can see, I'm creating a mishmash of different paint colors here just to add more interest to the composition. And I have to work a little bit more quickly because this paint is starting to dry. And we don't want that to happen. So let's start having some fun. I'm going to take some bubble wrap and press that in there. Let's go with the cardboard. Let's see what happens with this seltzer bottle. It's kind of sliding around in the paint a little bit. That's what happens with some of these items, especially if they have a curved surface. You're going to find that they tend to slide around. Let me grab some foil. I'll go with the net bag here, and I'm just pressing this down with my hand. Let's do some vitamin containers. Let's see what kind of look we get. I am going to carefully try to run this across the paint and create some lines. You don't want to get your fingers in the paint though and leave fingerprints. And then I'm going to use the bottom of this mason jar and see what happens. Because I've not used this before either. And last but not least, a little bit more of the corrugated cardboard. So now I'm going to let this dry, and when it's completely dry, I'm going to put down my pickup layer. When you're doing a project like this, it's smart as your pickup layer to use an off-white or a white. If you use a color paint that is too dark for your pickup layer, you're not going to see all the details created by these objects in the print. So I'm going to let this dry for a couple of minutes and then I'll be back. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. This feels dry to the touch. I'm going to take some pure white paint and put it on here as my pickup layer. Oops, that might be too much, but we'll find out once we start rolling it out. And I have my sheet of scrap paper over here on the right for getting rid of excess paint. There's just a little bit too much on here, but it's okay. Put my paper down, give it a good rub, and let's wait for this to dry. Now while this dries, I want to say something else about your recycling items. Not only can you use them in prints that just have recycled items in there, but I also use things from my recycling bin in other prints. Now this is a magazine print. Right here, I used the net bag to make this magazine image a little bit more interesting. Here is a botanical print that I did. I used the net bag here, and here I used one of those vitamin containers. I just pressed it down. I used the foil here. So when you're using other media to create a print, don't forget that your recycled items can add this whole other layer of interest. And here is another magazine image I did of a man, and I used the net bag here, and I used the foil over here. So these recycling items, they can be used in other prints. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. How do you tell? If you start lifting up the edge and you don't see paint on the plate, if all the paint is coming up on the paper or most of it, you're good to go. Nope, this is not done yet. I'm going to put some heavy books on here because you really want this paper to attach to the paint. You don't want to leave any paint behind on the plate. And I'm going to leave it here for about 5 minutes. I put some heavy books on here to make sure that the paper really adheres to the paint. Let's take these off and see what happens. Oh, this is good. I don't see any paint sticking to the plate. And here we have it. Now, one of the things that I want to point out is that when you're doing these kinds of prints with recycling bin stuff, it's much easier to get a very bold look if you're using really bright colored paints like this magenta and this turquoise. You get a stronger look. There's a lot more contrast. When you're using yellows and oranges, which I did deliberately because I wanted to show you the difference, there is not as much contrast between the paints and the impressions that you made with the various objects. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're going to start doing this for the very first time, it's probably better to go with bold colors. This is Liquitex Magenta and Prussian Blue. And I did use a dark green here, but I deliberately used brighter colors around it. I hope you enjoyed this project of creating gel prints with things from your recycling bin. If you would like to receive my free gel printing supply list, there is a link in the description below the video. You can click on it and this will be sent to you. It's a 10-page booklet really that indicates everything that you need to buy, the bare bones minimum. There are links to all the products, and I also go into paint in a lot of detail because purchasing the right kind of paint is really critical when it comes to having success with gel prints. So the link for that will be below this video, and keep your eyes open because I will be creating more in the Gel Printing 101 Projects for Beginners series.